All right. Oh, good. I'm glad you saw that. Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me know. Actually, let's just put this over here on its own. How about that? Just for reference. We'll just do it kind of like that for now. Let's have a look here, see if I can help in any other way. So let's just tuck these over here for now. Yeah, so if you want to take a screenshot, I don't know how to do that on a show, but I don't know, maybe a phone or something will do it. I don't really know. So these are all the squiggles that I use on my astrodoodles. There you go. Let me just say hi. Where am I? Where are we? Hope this works. Yeah, hi. Good evening. It's the 26th of June, 2025. It is a Sunday night over here. I'm very late. Had a lot of tasks, chores, things that had to be done. And they are more or less completed for now. Hello, Diana. Hi. It's been a while. You've probably figured out that I'm not here very much on YouTube anymore. And you all know the reasons. I've been barking on about this for years. Anyway, I'm here right now tonight. I'm willing to do a couple of tarot readings if anybody's interested. We've been doing this a long time. It's almost getting on to 8 years. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, thank you. It's been almost 8 years, and we've gone through multiple, I don't know, what would you call them? Multiple iterations of YouTube. And things never, there's nothing ever static. It's always, everything's morphing the whole time. You think you got everything figured out, and then poof, it all turns into a pile of smoke and mirrors and everything. YouTube is still censoring and blocking. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter what the Trump administration is telling you at this point in time. YouTube and Google are still censoring, blocking, demonetizing, striking, warning, all of that stuff that they used to do. They're still putting out their blue letter alerts like, oh, climate change, oh, the election, oh, the 6th day of the first month of 2021. Things like that. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely so childish that these multi-billionaires with their multi-billion-dollar corporations can't handle TRUTH. It's so pathetic, so childish. I just look at them as really like spoilt little self-appointed brats who think that they are superior. Their sole agenda is to serve themselves. We all know the mechanism. Here's the free Wonder app. It does everything for you. You don't need to think anymore. You just press button, talk into it, and answers come out. And there you are. You can pass your exams. You can learn things that you never knew before. And of course, all according to the way they want to tell you. Anyway, it's all being contested right now. It's going through courts, it's going through Congress and everything, so we'll see what happens. You know, Zark Muckerberg, he is doing his flip. All of a sudden, Zark is free speech guy, #1. Oh, we're just going to change everything over here at the META place. And we're going to really prioritize common sense. We're going to scrap all the so-called checking of factual information. And we're going to have a community group that's going to do it. Okay? Okay. So, look at it this way. The state that is deep is still very much alive and well, very powerful. They still have all the power and the money and control, but the thing is, they've met a roadblock now, and that is in the form of Donald Trump and his crowd. I'm very, very, very happy that this new fellow came on board. I've been a supporter for a long time, and he's got his new team getting lined up right now, and he has been delivering a blistering first week, and we're heading into the second week. It's just mind-boggling what's been happening across the world. Countries are just the big T. That's good. That's good. Some people call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. G-O-A-T, GOAT. Anyway, I've been working very, very hard. I think I'm doing an incredibly good job on self-healing right now. Mostly using this. You understand the concept where it's a physics. It's kind of to do with physics. So you think about the tarot deck. Some of you have probably seen this one, the Four of Cups. Think about the Four of Cups, okay? There's that poor, dejected, miserable, sad person sitting under the tree, mired in self-pity, sadness, grief, all the losses, all the pain, all the suffering, all those three cups in front of her, him, he, she, they. It's awful. It's just awful, awful, awful. If you keep thinking about it, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And yet, at the very same time, over there, in the spirit form, is a little tiny cup in the form of a hand presenting the cup. I think of it as a miniature, tiny Ace of Cups. And that Ace of Cups is sitting right there. It's beautiful, it's pure, it's pristine, it's brand new. It's just waiting to be invited into your life. So if you feel right now that you're the sad, sick, dejected, rejected, humiliated, insulted, degraded, abused person sitting under the tree, yeah, you have every right to feel pissed, miserable, revolutionary, angry. But don't let that consume you. The idea with the Four of Cups is energy flows where attention goes. And believe it or not, you have the ability and the right and the duty to focus your intention where it is most healthy and appropriate for you to be your most awesome sovereign self. Okay? So, when you think about it, like, okay, energy flows where attention goes. It's very, very simple. It's very, very true. But how do you activate that? Well, that's with the healing power of love, where you realize, oh my God, I am a sovereign individual. I have the right to think my own thoughts, think good thoughts. It's obvious. I mean, I'm no better than anyone. I am a tremendous victim of having been, of doom scrolling and having felt injustice over many, many years for many, many horrible things by very large institutions over which I have absolutely no control, no say. But I paid all my taxes, and then they do all these despicable, evil things, right? But when I kind of look at myself in the mirror, I think, you know what? I don't want to have a shit day. I don't want to do that. I want to be happy. I like to feel good. I want my immune system working properly. I want to be able to overcome and manage my health issues. I want to be able to get up, walk, move around, do my chores, live my life. How am I going to do that? Oh, I just do this. Oh, look. There it is, a little Ace of Cups. It's landing in my lap right now. Here it is, landing in my hand right now. It's all for me. It's provided by heaven, by my invisible friends, by Jesus, by God. All of that. Just for me. It's right there. The Ace of Cups is a secret card of opportunity. So you mean all I have to do is accept it? Really? Oh. Okay, I accept it. Oh wow, that feels really, really good. Poof! Energy flows where attention good. All of a sudden, poof! I'm infused with the healing power of love. Yesterday, for example, I already knew I had woken up feeling like a piece of dog doo-doo. My tummy, my brain, my chest, my head. I look at the skies. Oh yeah, saturated with chemtrails for the last few days. Even though we had 7-8 days of no chemtrails, it makes a huge difference. So then I thought, you know what? I don't want this day to turn into poo-poo. Yeah, we're going to go see a movie. Ha! A movie. What a waste of time. Hey, TL, that's silly. You're just indulging yourself in your wimpiness and you're caving into your fear. Going to a movie so that you can abandon reality and ignore what's going on in the world? That's despicable. That's below you. And then I thought, oh, no. This could be good. This could be healing. Yeah. So I went to the movies and it was great. It was a good old-fashioned movie, like an action, thriller, danger. The good guys won, the bad guys lost. It was called Flight Risk. Directed and produced by Mel Gibson. An outstanding job. And so I was happy going in because I'd made a decision. I chose to redirect my attention towards feeling good. Absorbing the healing power of love and just letting it through my body, mind, heart, and soul from up above. So now I own it. It's mine. Pure, undiluted. And I took full advantage and I thought, I'm fine. I'm fine even if I'm not fine. I'm fine anyway. And so I did it and I came back cured. I was cured. I cured myself. I allowed myself to be cured. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. So, yeah. And I decided to do the same thing today. I decided I'm not going to try and force any type of agenda. I'm just going to allow myself to swirl around in this huge pile of Piscean, Neptune, 12th house energy. Everything's swirly. Everything seems like a magical movie. To me, it feels like I'm actually in a movie. I worked in movies and TV for 20 years. I know what it's like. It's a mind-boggling feeling to be on a movie set where this complete piece of fiction is being created out of thin air by the use of millions of dollars and lots of very, very smart, hard-working people who know how to manipulate sound and light and storytelling and to turn it into a movie so that you guys can sit at home and go, oh, that's great. Yeah, and it's an amazing thing. That's all Neptune stuff. It's magic. Magic, Neptune. Hollywood, Neptune. There's a lot of Virgo energy as well in Hollywood. So how do you, let's say, tease out the magic of Hollywood? Well, it's an extremely hyper-detailed process to produce and deliver a movie. Astronomical amounts of money and people and time and energy. It starts with a screenplay and then they just dissect it into little nuggets that turn into reports going to lots of different so-called heads of department. They do all their magic, they put it all together, and poof, you get your movie at the end. Anyway, the thing is, with all this Neptune energy, I realized that there's no point in trying to enforce a rigid plan, or, for example, wake up and have a fixed agenda. We're going to do this, 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 and this, and this. Yes, I still have my, let's say, ambitions for the day, goals to achieve for the day, tasks that have to be done for the day, routine things, from the tiniest things to the big cerebral stuff. All of it. It all has to be done in my waking day. And it's the same for everybody. How do you do that? A lot of people, of course, operate totally on autopilot. They don't even know they're on autopilot. They've been conditioned that way since birth. No one ever tapped them on the shoulder. They never had any certain life experiences that went, it's time for you to wake up, person. And so they're just operating on autopilot. They have no idea what's going on. Mostly everything is done through hormones, events, circumstances that trigger emotional reactions. So it's all about action, reaction, action, reaction. There's no awareness of the concept that energy flows where attention goes, and that you can lift yourself out of the paradigm of conditioning and being programmed. And so they just live their lives. They have no idea who got elected. They have no idea what's going on with finances, no idea what's going on with unemployment or employment or artificial intelligence or the wars around the world, the changing nature of society, the changing nature of the planet. It's just, mostly they're just obsessively concerned with food and what I would call, it's almost like the activity of gerbils, little furry gerbils. Mostly they're concerned about eating, sleeping, pooping, cuddling up, having fun with their friendly gerbils, and then fighting off the horrible gerbils, and then they go to sleep, wake up the next day and start all over again. They do their whirligigs in the wheels and so on. It's the autonomic nervous system. Everything, like a lot of stuff that happens here in the amygdala, I think it's the hypothalamus as well, I'm not sure, but it's all designed to help you live life without having to think. So I don't have to think in order to breathe. I don't have to think in order to make my eyes blink to clear the friction. I don't have to tell each finger to open and close when I do this. It happens by magic. It's just magic. It's an incredible system. But we have this thing called our brain which overrides all of it, which, well, it doesn't override, but allows us to experience this thing that we call consciousness, where we can effectively dissociate from the autonomic conditioning and view our lives from a perspective of whoa, who am I? What am I? What am I doing here? How did I get here? Why do I think the way I think? Why do I feel the way I do? Wait a minute, I feel this way, but I've been conditioned that way. Why is that happening? I want to feel what's real. What's the real me like? Who is the real me? A lot of people don't know. People are waking up. Pluto in Aquarius. What's the notes there? He did this to save the just more out. Okay, I'm just checking in the chat there. Hold on. Who's gonna? Diana's starting a cleanse. Okay. Hey, I'm not allowed to talk about this on this platform, but I can tell you that I have pretty good confidence. If you're dealing with parasites, I'm not talking about the parasites over there in the state that is deep. The parasites over there in the city that is Washington, the District of Columbia, or the WHO, and all of those globalist elite types. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the parasites that might live in your brain, in your bones, in your heart, in your tissues, your body tissues. creepy, creepy stuff. I've had a lot of weird, horrible health issues through my life, like over and over again, different things, whatever it is, comes out of the blue. You have to heal it. But you got to reveal it to heal it. You got to have some kind of idea what it is. Certain things are extremely hard to diagnose, and now you mention it, Diana. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm just going to confess, I had a situation they called, eventually it was diagnosed eventually as something called systemic candidiasis. It's a very specific thing. It's a horror nightmare. It's basically what happens to the human body when it dies. It starts to decompose from within because of all the candida yeast and funguses and the molds and the parasites that start to take over the body. It's no different from when you put a body in the ground and it just rots. That's what happens. So systemic candidiasis is the medical definition of the candida has got to the point where it has taken over your body and you're effectively on the pathway to death. It gets into your brain, your nerves, your lungs, your organs, your liver, your pancreas, your heart, your intestines, your muscles, your eyes, your nose, your ears, everything. You can't breathe. You can't think. Everything turns into a thick, thick fog. You become immobilized. And it's horrific, okay? It's very, very nasty stuff. It's usually associated with people who have HIV, AIDS, or they're terminal, long, slow terminal, and they're just starting to decompose in their hospital bed. And that's kind of what it looks like. Now, I thought I was perfectly okay. I didn't realize that I had been self-harming with my diet and my life, the way I was living. And because I've always been pretty hyper and very active. And I hardly ate any meats or anything like that. I mostly had veggie stuff and food and lots of carbs, lots of orange juice, and so on. And so I was constantly fueled up with basically rocket fuel, which allowed me to live my life. So I would have to eat a lot frequently, and I was fine with that. I didn't know I was harming myself. Anyway, my body said enough. You cannot treat your body this way. So I started to decompose because effectively the candida, as you know, lives off sugar. So all these carbs that I thought I was doing really well, they metabolize effectively down to sugar. And so I was living off way too many carbs and sugars, and that really screws up your body. It adds rocket fuel to the candida that's already there. Everybody has candida in their body somewhere. It's a question of how much is it under control. So anyway, long story short, the candida took over my body. I didn't know what was happening. My girlfriend at the time happened to be a pharmacist at a hospital, a major hospital. And she didn't understand. I didn't understand. Nobody knew what was going on. I described everything to her. And she talked to some of her doctor friends, and she said, and the doctors were asking, like, well, who is this person? Is he dead? Is he dying? Is he on his last, few days or whatever? Because it sounds like systemic candidiasis. It's a very hard disease to diagnose because it doesn't happen normally. If someone's got it, they're probably just going to die very soon anyway. And so she said, oh my God, that sounds exactly what he's dealing with. So they went through all the symptoms, and we said, yep, that's it. That's what it's got to be. And so she said, well, what do I do? What would this kind of hypothetical person have to take? Well, he said, well, it's pretty brutal stuff. You're going to have to give him something called ketoconazole, which is an antifungal. It's going to be brutal. He may not survive the ketoconazole, but that's what he's got to do. So she went, okay. And so she went into her pharmacy and she got me huge piles of ketoconazole, and I started scarfing them. And yeah, it was horrific. It was just absolutely horrific. But it killed off all the yeast, the mold, the parasite, the candida. And I had a very long, slow recovery. It was a brutal recovery. Now, the similar things happen with parasites and certain cancers. And I learned recently, of course, it's all over the internet now, there's something called fen, and then ben, and then dazol. And there's another one, it's called, hey, Ivor. Is that Mr. Ivor? Mecton is your last name? Okay. So I'm not going to try to talk about those things, but I just had an experience where I believe the Fenben did an outstanding job of helping me. Because I'm very vulnerable, because I have medications to keep off some horrific conditions. And so I'm vulnerable, immune system compromised, but I'm doing very, very well. The doctors say, I don't know how you're doing it, but keep doing it. You're doing a great job. So that's what I'm doing. So I can vouch for this stuff called FEN, BEND, AZOLE. You don't have to touch its sister, bend. You don't have to go there, because that's a prescription and it'll charge you a lot of money. You can just go online to Amazon and get the fen. Easy peasy. I double dosed it and it worked really well. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so anyway, I don't know how I got ranting on all that stuff. Cleansing. There's also, I'm not a doctor, so don't take anything of what I said as serious. I've just had an awful lot of horrible health issues that required me to do a lot of self-healing and self-diagnosis, multiple deathbed type situations like that, and it's awful. But hey, I'm alive to tell the tale, okay? Yeah. I see that necessary. I see that. All right, so let me just go to a few notes here. I'm not going to do an astrodoodle tonight. I'll do that tomorrow night when I get back on the RUMBLE platform. A lot of you know now that the Big T has been working very hard ever since the 6th day of November last year. And it's just mind-boggling what he's already achieved. And then when he actually went through the inauguration, what was it, Monday? Not even a week ago. On day one, he was already signing dozens and dozens of executive orders, putting plans into action, and so on and so on. I've been tracking all of it, reporting on a lot of it, because it is revolutionary stuff that's happening. It's historic on an epic scale. This is the sort of stuff, it's the equivalent of what happened 250 years ago, around 1776, when America was giving birth to itself. We're going through a rebirth now because we've just lived through a Pluto return, 250 years. When I say Pluto return, that's sort of like a Saturn return. You've heard of that. It's the one that everybody dreads, which is like a 29 and a half, 30-year experience for most people. So Saturn return 30 years. Pluto return is 250. So you're never going to have a Pluto return in your lifetime, okay? But anyway, it's very, like you said, it's very hard to keep up with the Donald. I put a lot of it on my RUMBLE platform. But today, just a couple things just today. Hey, Precious, what's going on? Hello, Ivona. I didn't see you get there. Oh. You're going to do fasting. I believe fasting really does work. I think okay, Diana, since we're talking about cleansing and stuff and healing the body and things, I'm just going to share a couple of things that I learned. I learned the hard way, but anyway, fasting does help. It's not something I indulge in very often because I'm tall and skinny. I have no fat reserves. I have to eat at least 3 times a day. I get hungry even after a really good breakfast. I don't know where it all, it's just metabolism. I've always been that way. My poor parents didn't know how to cope. But anyway, so fasting is good because it kind of resets the whole body. Human beings were not actually designed to have 3 consistent meals all day, every day for life. Back in the old days, hunter-gathering, you might go for days and days and days without a meal. You had to go and hunt for it. Your buddies, your friends in your tribe, somehow or other, you'd have to go out and catch an elk, or who knows, a deer or something, or a buffalo, or a big mammoth, a big woolly mammoth. And it might take you days or weeks to track it down and catch it, and then you have to butcher it, cook it, eat it, preserve it. And then, of course, you've got your gathering with nuts and berries. Excuse me. Oh, wait a minute. What? I'll just check there with a minute, precious. And so, Diana, what I learned is that fasting is good. It really helps. It's a very weird phenomenon. After a while, you don't think about food. Once you start the fast, eventually, of course, you get to the point where, oh my God, I need to eat something or I'm going to die. But it's weird. It's the psychological phenomenon as you go through. You just have to drink water gently as you go through the fasting. And it does an amazing reset on the body. If you are infected with candida or parasites and stuff, we already talked about what you can do. So let's say you take care of that. What I learned to do, this is going to be a horrible thing for some people. If you're a vegetarian, I don't want to offend you. But after my situation, I had to basically become like a carnivore. I had to have what they call a keto diet for a while, for about a year. Basically, it's meat, fats, nuts, seeds. That's what it is. And then some very, very occasionally things like not occasionally, but every once a day, at least a little tiny amount of very, very hard cruciferous type of foods, like a little bit of broccoli or kale or collard greens or something like that. And little bits of maybe garlic and onion. Very little in the way of potatoes or bread or anything that turns into a sugar very, very quickly. Beets, anything like that. No cakes, no cookies, nothing. It's very, very weird. When you go full keto and you're just living off meats, meat fats, butter, onion, garlic, nuts, seeds, and little bits of cruciferous, your brain and your metabolism changes profoundly. And everything slows down. If you've been used to living off a lot of carbs and Coke and everything like that, and you're used to being hyped up on sugar and adrenaline all day, every day, and your body is in permanent cortisol, fight or fight mode, it takes a toll. When you go full keto, it stops all that process and your body reconfigures. It's very, very, very good for you, but you're not supposed to live that way all the time. It's not healthy, full keto. But it was very, very healing for me. The problem with going full keto after you do a fasting is that you can feel very depressed. Because if you're used to being hyper like me all the time, and then you're not allowed to do that, you feel depressed. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Just be warned, okay? Yeah. No, I just want to check thing with the... What's that, precious? Hey? Back to healing day 2. What? Healing from what? Oh, let me just check. Oh boy, it's been a week. I got my dry socket. I had to have an angioplasty. Holy shit. Oh. Back to, so are you in the hospital? Are you in the house or what? Are you on your phone? You woke up on Saturday with my face so swollen I couldn't recognize myself. My jawbone became exposed. So emergency dental surgery again. Oh my God. Oh my God. You found out how tough you can be. That's amazing. I'm here, so I'm so done. MASH, it's been 2 weeks. I just want nachos. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you can talk about it here, but maybe on Rumble to discuss the extra IRS hires by Uncle Sleepy potentially moving to border control jobs and financial projects ahead. Actually, I found out something else today. I think Trump is putting hold on all the IRS hires anyway. Yeah. Yeah, oh, that's brutal. I'm sorry. Anyway, let me just go through my little notes here, and then I want to go to the my astrology notes, okay? You got heavy antibiotics, but you're home. Okay. Well, I hope you're wrapped up really, really well. Okay, here we go. You probably heard about this one already. You know Trump is already deporting hundreds and hundreds, and we're heading into the thousands now. It's still very, very early days, but it's happening. It's live, real time. He's got the military, tanks, Humvees, National Guard going down to the borders to help ICE. If I was a migrant, I'd be absolutely terrified. I'd either be self-deporting very fast because I wouldn't want to get snared up in the deportation, or else I would just run, hide deep state, not deep, but hide deep in America and just crawl around like a cockroach, hoping nobody ever finds me. Not a good way to live. Anyway, a lot of deportees are going all over the world. A lot of them, of course, to Central and South America. The guys over there in Colombia, the president said, no way, we're not accepting your deportees. You cannot land your deportee plane here. And so the Trump plane flew to, I think it was Guatemala, offloaded from there, and then they're going to ship to, I mean, it's crazy. So in retaliation, the president of Colombia, who's a hardcore guerrilla communist, basically said, no, Trump, you can't do this, and it's not allowed. It's unfair. You can't mistreat our Colombian citizens this way. And then Trump slapped him back and said, okay, well, you don't seem to understand. We are deporting. These people are going to be repatriated, and if you don't behave, you're going to get sanctioned and tariffed up the backside. So behave. All right, anyway, we'll see what happens. Here's another thing. I think it was Marco Rubio, or maybe it was Donald himself. He sent a message to the Taliban. Remember them over there in the Middle East from what it was 4 years ago? When they inherited billions and billions of dollars of American military hardware because of Grandpa Joe and his ridiculous Afghan withdrawal. That was all part of the plan, of course, to basically arm the Taliban. But now Trump is saying, I want it back. I want all that stuff back again. I'm going to send over C-17s and we're going to collect our hardware. No more toys for you, Taliban. And of course the Taliban replied, so we'll see where that goes. I would not want to be on the wrong side of Donald Trump these days. Here's another one for Israel. Trump has released the hold on the 2,000-pound bombs going to Israel. So those bombs are going to be arriving in Israel soon. And guess what? Of course, it's to bomb Iran. Or at least the threat of it. Wipe out the nuclear facilities and all of that. Trump is also trying to sort out deals with Jordan and Egypt to take care of and import some of the displaced Palestinians. Because guess what? Gaza is just nothing. It's just rubble. There's nothing to do, nowhere to live. And these Palestinians have to go somewhere. You've probably already figured out over the last 4 years that Nobody in the Middle East, none of the Arab countries want anything to do with Palestinians. Why? Because the Palestinians basically sided with Hamas and became effectively Hamas proxies themselves. So it's become very, very hard for the Palestinians to get help from their other Arab neighbors. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Trump is going to put a lot of pressure because basically Gaza is going to be bulldozed. I think they're either going to bulldoze all the rubble into the ocean, start building the infrastructure for the oil refineries, or they're going to bulldoze it east into the desert and just turn it into a massive landfill, and then go and build the oil and gas terminals on the west. There we go. Here's something that came out this evening. Just came out on Fox. I couldn't find the actual notes, but basically Fox News is reporting that the Trump ICE Tom Homan crowd have discovered 75,000 children, missing children, all swept up in the sex trafficking business. Oops, I said bad words. Okay, so anyway, who cares? So anyway, what happened is that because of the release of information that's happening now in Washington, Tom Homan, the whole of ICE and immigration, they're getting access to stuff that they never had before because it was all held in secret by Alejandro Mayorkas and the deep state cannibal vampires, child eaters. So it's a start. 75,000 kids, that's a start. ICE knows where they are. Homan knows where they are. I don't know if you saw this as well, but somebody was doing aerial searches around all the fires and everything in Los Angeles, and they found lots of help signs like carved into the dirt, into the sand, so that hopefully helicopters would see them. Of course, the whole area was incinerated. The help signs remained because they were just rocks and rubble laid out so that the people could see it from the sky. And they were help signs, and they wrote down the coordinates, the location area, and the person watching the help signs loaded up the coordinates on their, whatever it was, their Google Map thing, something like that. And it turns out it's north of downtown LA. I'm not going to do a map here, but if you can imagine, just imagine Los Angeles is a big city, right? And about 10, 12 miles inland from the beach where I used to live, we call it, there's downtown. Downtown is surrounded by, and just to the northeast, there's a lot of industrial, warehousing, logistics and stuff going on all over the downtown area. And it turns out being housed in federal warehouse. And so Alejandro Mayorkas and their gang, they refuse to say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. 75,000 kids in federal facilities northeast of downtown LA? That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. Anyway, I'm happy. Hope the little kids survived. I don't know if they survived or not. The whole place looked like a hellscape. 75,000 little children. And also, by the way, on the notes, on the signs that they were putting on the ground, they wrote one of them that would say one said Trafico. Another one said federal. And so connecting all the dots, the viewer connected the dots and realized before the fire, they got previous photos and footage, it's federal logistics centers. Unbelievable. Okay? So what does that tell you? It tells you the state that is deep is still operating as much as it can, while it can, with their little industry that is all about moving little children all over the place to be consumed by the elites. Very disgusting, evil stuff. But we're going to put a stop to that. And of course, the last thing I'll mention, you've probably heard about this one already. When Donald was doing his flyby yesterday, Saturday, in Los Angeles, or was it Friday? Friday or Saturday, he was doing his flyby looking at the Palisades fires. And he got back off the helicopter with Melania and walking over to the military base where they're going to have the meetings. And on the way, he was talking to one of the reporters, and the reporters was asking, "So what did you see, Donald?" And he said, basically, it's like a bomb. The whole thing looked like it was bombed, but more than bombed. It looked like it deliberately got hit by something. But I'm not going to talk about that here with you. So we know what it is. It's weapons that use energy that is directed from above. Same shit they did over in Hawaii. Same stuff they did to manipulate the Hurricane Helene. All that kind of stuff. So it's evil, evil, evil is still being activated and fueled by the deep state. Remember, they lost, but they're not dead. They're not gone. They're extremely powerful, extremely wealthy, and they're trying to figure out what are we going to do now that Donald is here? All our BlackRock plans are starting to fall apart. All our little kiddie parties are starting to fall apart. What are we going to do? Oh, disgusting. Anyway, let me go over here now. Enough of my ranting. So, hey, NT, this is for you, but it's actually for everybody. I decided to keep it really, really simple. I don't know if you can see it from here. Everybody, if you want to, you can use this. It might help you understand my astrodoodles over on the other platform. Donald knows exactly what's going on. And a lot more is being revealed and uncovered. And it is as despicable and evil, if not more, than anything we could have ever imagined. Sadly, I associate that with the unhealthy expressions of Pisces 12th house Neptune energy. Very sad, very tragic. Anyway, let's start over here. Where do we start? Let's start with the planets. Okay? This is what I reference all day, every day on my little astrodoodles. I do this in my sleep, but some of you don't, so I'll point it out. These are my little symbols. This is for the sun. Okay? Here's the moon, pretty obvious. There's Mercury, the messenger. Mercury, the sign of commerce. Okay, a little squiggle on the top, like a little hat, the circle, and a cross under there. There's Venus over there. You've probably seen that before. Here's Mars. You've probably seen that one before. Here's Jupiter. Looks like a sort of a happy number 4. Here's Saturn, the Grim Reaper, some people call it. There's Uranus, the crazy sign, over there. There's Neptune, the sign of dreams and smoke and mirrors and unconditional love. There's the planet Neptune. Here is the planet Pluto. Here is the North Node. And here is Chiron. Okay, so now you got it. I see what you're saying, Diana. I'm not sure. More will be revealed. We have 4 years ahead of us. Okay? 4 years. Excuse me, I'm glitching over here. Next, for reference, for future reference, these are the 12 signs. Aries, the ram, so that's supposed to look like the ram horns. charging, fight, fight, fight. Over here is Taurus, the bull. There you are. There's the little bull with his horns over there. There's Gemini, the twins. Can you see that? Oh, it's not very visible, is it? I didn't do a very good job. There's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, the crab, Leo, the lion, Virgo, the dutiful maid, Libra, the balance and scales, Scorpio, the scorpion with the sting in the tail, of course, Sagittarius, the archer, the adventurer, always heading out to new horizons, Capricorn, leader, manager, achiever, Aquarius, the water bearer for humanity, and Pisces, the dream, the dreamer, unconditional love. There we go. Now, these signs are associated with what they call a rulership from these planets. I'm not going to do that here, but anyway, just wanted to share that because these are the essential ingredients for my astrodoodles. Okay, I usually write the names of the houses: Aries, first house, second, third, fourth, and so on when I do my pie charts. I'll pull an example from the other day. What did I have the other day? So here's an example from last night. These are the names of the signs, and the signs are associated with the different houses. And the signs are, when you study formal astrology, the signs are under a so-called rulership by a certain planet. For example, Aries is ruled by Mars, the warrior. Okay? Anyway, that's a whole other level of astrology. I'm just giving you the symbols here, okay? So let's put it like that. So in case anybody wants a screenshot, I'll just leave it like that for a few moments, okay? While you gather yourself, okay? Now, hey Tina, what's up? Yeah, it's very creepy about the children, isn't it? All right, let's let me go over here for a second. Tina, hi, good evening. I hope you're well. Pax and Ava, Pax, Charlie, and Sasha. Are you having any ghostly spirit visitations from the rambunctious soul of Ava? Please let us know. Oh, little Ava. Just give us some updates on how little Pax is doing. Okay, let's have a look. Alrighty, well, we're going to do a little mini reading now, okay, folks? Okay, alright, I'm just kind of adjusting here, bear with me. The snake bird. I always think this, I write the symbols the way I write them. I look at this as a sort of a more to do with the mane. I think of the top of the loop there. Hold on. Sorry, now that you asked. I think for Leo, I look at this as the mane on the lion, big, pompous, flowing mane, kind of like Donald Trump hair. That's how I look at this. That's my easiest analogy. Think of it as Donald Trump hair. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Ava's being quiet. Okay. All right. Now, okay, we are going to do a reading for necessary. NT. Let's just say NT. How about that? So let's prepare. Let's put these aside for now. I'll put them. And we will now just pull up and get ready here, okay? I've been getting so many people on my RUMBLE who are professional channel marketers, and I don't know what to do. I know some people have professional channel marketers and channel managers. Some people don't. Some of the channels that I really admire have a whole freaking team for doing all that stuff. It's right now, it's always been just me. So sometimes I keep thinking, like, what do these managers do? Let's do a collective. Oh, necessary, you're so kind. That's just an awesome thing. What a beautiful gesture. Thank you. That's a beautiful gesture. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's do it. Okay. This is for everybody. This is for everybody and anybody. Anyone who's here tonight who's resonating is here at these frequencies. Oh, yeah, oh, that's beautiful. Well, you know, see, I'll read about. Yeah, I just saw it. I just saw it. Wait a minute. Oh, I see what else. I see what else you're saying. Hold on a minute. There's a few people here. Are there? Just let me know. Is there any kind of? Is there a newbie here anywhere who's never even come even close to this? Maybe we'll do something that way. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to do a reading for the collective. Love doing that. I love doing that. Oh, no, Tina. It would be very, very hard to forget Ava. She will definitely not be forgotten. Don't be surprised if Ava reincarnates pretty quickly and somehow maybe even magically finds herself back in your world. Who knows? She learned a tremendous amount by being with you. All right, I'm just shuffling away here. And we'll see what happens, see how this pans out. Okay, here we go. No, I think we're just going to do it for the collective. All right, let's just clarify here. I'm going to make a note. Where'd my little astrodoodle, my little post-its go? Here we go. This is for everybody. I'm going to keep it very loose, okay? Oh, some of you weren't here, but I did a show last night on my other platform. Let me just share a little story. I'm very, very proud of this. Hold on. Before we do the collective reading, okay? So, a couple days ago, I did a pet rescue, sort of. I actually did 2 pet rescues in one day, sort of. The first, I got back to the house. I was going to unload some groceries, including some potato chips. I was going to eat a potato chip. And then I saw this crazy little dog running around the street. And as soon as I got out of the car, and rattles, scrunching some shopping bags. The little dog perked up, thinking, food, food, food. It was a little dog. It was probably some kind of little fuzzy terrier type, like a little compact dog, not tiny, not big, but just like a compact little dog, blonde, and extremely disheveled and matted, but obviously very, very alive. Extremely perky, shiny, clear eyes, and a very, very wet nose. And it looked like really clean, young teeth. Didn't look like very old. Anyway, I realized very quickly that this little dog is very, very intelligent. And he figured out that I was not dangerous, but on the other hand, I was unknown. So I realized this little kid is lost. He's completely, utterly lost. So I thought, you know what? I started talking to him, tried to become friends and stuff, and walk around, let him follow me and everything. And then I went into the house, grabbed a bunch of cans of cat food, brought him out, and a bowl of water and everything. And I started serving up food for this little creature. And he went absolutely berserk, as you could imagine, okay? So he scarfed down probably at least a can worth of food. For his tiny little body, that's a lot of food. And he was very, very happy. And then he started guzzling water. And I thought, you know what? There's no way I'm going to catch this guy by grabbing him. He's way too jumpy, way too smart, way too wary of people. So I will lure him with food into the backyard and close the gate, and then call animal rescue, pet rescue or something. That didn't work. He figured out my plan. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try and figure another plan. I'll seduce it with more food, and that worked. He came very, very close. I was very, very close to him, but after he finished scarfing, he grabbed the can and started throwing it up in the air like a game, and it crashed down and made lots of noises, and he scared himself and then just ran away down the street. There's no way I could have caught him. And so I reported it on some kind of like next door neighbor app, because oddly enough, the day before, someone had already posted a lost dog alert. And lo and behold, it was a match. So I've been trying to communicate back and forth with this website. Nothing's happened so far, no reply. But the little dog is named Barry. And he is lively, likes people, but he's obviously not very, very good with a leash. So I don't know what's going to happen. What I'm hoping is that he comes back one day and remembers this location for food. And by that time, I'll have a communication, and then I can maybe capture the little fellow and go from there. So I'm very, very proud of that, okay? We'll see what happens. The next thing is I was doing some cleanup, and I found a drowning bee. In fact, the bee looked like it had drowned already. So I thought, oh, this guy's too far gone. I've rescued all sorts of bees recently, but this is too far gone. I thought, no, I'm gonna at least give him a graceful farewell. So I fished him out and placed him on some warm, sunny concrete, and I stayed with him for about 15 minutes with a little tiny microscopic twig, teasing him around a bit, trying to get some movement in his body to see if maybe he might recover. And it took about 10 minutes. The post on Nextdoor didn't say the story of how the little Barry got lost. Sorry. Anyway, back to the bee. So the little bee, I just stayed there. I decided I'm not going to leave the side of this little bee until I know for sure he's dead or alive. After 10 minutes, I got a tiny twitch from one of his little tiny legs. And kept going, and then I got little twitches from his wings, and then little twitches from his antenna, and I knew he is alive. He may recover, I don't know. And then another 5 minutes, I had to stay with him very closely. And what I look for when I do bee rescue, I look for the abdomen, you know, the big part of the back end where it's like a stripy thing, like a little bulb, the abdomen. And it's when they recover, they start to pump the abdomen. And I think that's something to do with breathing and to get their circulation going and get the blood back into their brain and their lungs and their heart and their muscles and all their... It's an amazing phenomenon. And so all of that happened in the last 5 minutes, but I was there for 15, 20 minutes because I wanted to give him a chance, and it worked. And right at the end, you could see him getting his wings ready and flexing his little antenna and his little legs and sort of doing this and pumping his lungs and pumping his abdomen. And then the abdomen kind of went whoosh, 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 and then he just disappeared. Fully recovered. Just amazing. Just an amazing thing. I'm very proud of that. I also got a little bit sad because I've seen a lot of roadkills in the last few days, mostly pigeons. I think there's like an extermination crew going around the neighborhoods, offering services to people who have pigeon infestations. You see a lot of dead pigeons at the car parks around here. It's very sad. Anyway, let's get on with the collective reading. This is for everybody. If you're here and it's the collective, at least you're operating at these frequencies where you're at least open to the idea of multidimensional phenomenon like remote viewing, remote energy healing, direct transformational energy healing, the healing power of love, all that good stuff that basically operates at invisible frequencies, sort of like microwaves or radio waves or whatever. Okie dokie. Yes, the bee lived. Oh, if you saw the videos, yes, it was very much like that, but it was a much longer journey. The other bee rescues that I've done, they usually work within about 2 to 5 minutes. Anyway, this is for the collective. So when I talk about the collective, I think of it as, like, if you think of Earth, think of planet Earth here. This is our little home. This is where we all live. It's a pulsing organism. It's a big, flexible rock whizzing around the sun. And astronauts have commented that it's a very, very beautiful thing. And when they get back to Earth, they realize, like, my God, humanity is so screwed up with their perspectives. If only humanity could see what I saw, you know. It would change our behavior. We'd stop doing some of the really disgusting things that humans do, and we would do more loving things. All right, what kind of messages do we have today for the collective? Basically us, the folks here tonight, you and me. I'm just going to use the same old little mini diagnostic. I call it my situational spread. There we go. Let's have a look. Okay, gather round. Sit on your hands if you have to. Get your popcorn if you have to. Invite your invisible friends to hang out and participate. We can do this as a group session. Here's the situation. Here's our challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things going on forward. Yeah, let's have a look at the external influences. Of course, I always default to the planets, but you never know. Let's have a look here. See what the story is. So we've got the King of Pentacles. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I believe this is going to sound ridiculous, I know, but I believe we are living under the influence of a divinely ordained character who is literally here through divine ordinance for the good of humanity. And it's got initials DJT. The GOAT. Donald. The whole of planet Earth now is living under the influence of DJT. And that's a fact. What I'm saying is an actual fact. Every single country on earth, whether they like it or know it or not, is being impacted by this fellow. The King of Pentacles is the perfect depiction of DJT because he is a master. This indicates, the king indicates mastery. Mastery at worldly matters, things like money, wealth, finance, matter, common sense, doing what works for the abundance of self and others. It's a beautiful depiction here. And this King of Pentacles, it doesn't just happen like magic. It happens through multiple, many lifetimes to get to the point where you can embody this energy physically in this lifetime. And this is Donald himself, okay? I know it sounds absurd for a tarot reading, but that's what's happening here. We got a reading for the collective. This is what we're going to get. We're all living directly or however many stages of degrees of separation, depending on which country you live, your language, your nationality, your culture, all of those things, you're being affected. If you are a tyrant in a tyrannical regime and all you care about is propagating evil, you're still living under the influence of Donald, but you're not going to enjoy it. I feel very lucky right now because I live in the United States, and as sad and broken as we have become over the last 250 years, we are going through a massive, spectacular rebirth. And you can see that. We're going to actually see it very soon. I'll pull out that old chart here. In a few days, the moon, this is from yesterday, the moon is already well into Capricorn tonight, but on the 29th, we're going to have the Aquarius new moon. So the sun is going to be here, the moon is going to be here, and Pluto is going to be here. So it's a very powerful signal for good fortune coming our way. Hold on, give me a second. I'll be right there. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right, okay. If you're not a fan of Donald, then you're not going to like this reading. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. We'll see what happens. So what's the situation itself? Okay, so with the Two of Swords here, I feel that there's a really powerful message going on for each one of us as individuals, where we're going to have to really dig deep inside our souls and trust our intuition and try to figure out what side are we on. Because it's very unambiguous. With all this Pluto and Aquarius energy, it's extremely simple. It's extremely blunt. You're either on board or you're off board. If you're off board, it's probably going to be uncomfortable. And remember, there are millions of people who despise this fellow. They think he's like this demonic influence, okay? I can't help you. People are perfectly entitled to their opinions and feelings. I happen to be a fan, but other people. So it's a very serious issue. A lot of people are really suffering with the presence of this fellow that's basically having such an impact on the world, the collective. And so my feeling with the Two of Swords here is that as we progress in the near future, I'm just thinking of this, like you said, necessary for January mostly, or February. I'd rather dedicate this towards the energy of the new moon Aquarius coming in. So we got Pluto, Sun, and moon all in Aquarius, very, very, very tight. It's going to be a very powerful indicator that we're heading into the revolution. It is the Aquarian revolution. It is the war, because remember, Mars is still in a very warlike aspect. It's the war between freedom and tyranny, however you want to look at it, okay? So we have to be very, very discerning. We have to be very conscious of our energy and what we're going to do with it. Constantly, I would say, constantly tuning into truth and making sure that you can verify, okay? Trust but verify. In other words, let's say you have a consciousness and you are awake or awakening, or you have a sense of perceptions about life in the world and everything, and you have your belief systems. Depending on where you are, who you are in the world, if you're happy about Donald, then your belief systems are going to unfold in a certain way that looks very much like you're going to be saying, oh, go Donald, we're winning, we're winning, we're winning. If you're on the other side of the story, then it's going to feel painful, like, oh, this guy Donald, he's doing all these despicable, horrible things to all these poor innocent people. It's so evil. And then, I don't know, you have to figure out what's real and what's not real. And if you are suffering, why are you suffering? I've through like 1 or 2 degrees of separation, I'm aware of quite a few people here who are absolutely TDS people, Trump derangement syndrome. They absolutely despise Trump. They loathe Trump. They loathe his whole agenda, his ideology, his persona, everything. It's disgusting, okay? And that's their choice. They have the right to believe that. However, I'm recommending here that you still keep your antenna up and tuned in, and do not shut down your antenna. In fact, even with the Trump thing going on here, it's important for us, we the people, to make sure that we keep an eye on what's happening in America, especially in Washington, D.C., because the deep state's not going away. They're going to do everything they can to mess with our brains. And a lot of that is through propaganda, okay? Information versus misinformation. In other words, in America, that would translate into sources of information like I like to use WeOn News or the Epoch Times or DW or other places. And I like my X and bits of Telegram and things like that, and bits of TikTok, where you get raw, unfiltered information. And then I use that information as raw information that I can basically, from there, assess what I view and live and experience in the world, because a lot of that happens in the mind. And once my mind, my brain, has figured out what it wants to figure out, then I incorporate that into my being through the process of, I would say, divine intuition. In other words, I allow myself to connect with the divine and feel it and sense it and make my decisions accordingly. I allow myself to question Donald Trump every now and again if I have to. Like, wait a minute, what did he just say? You know? Government in any form is not of God's plan. That's just my opinion. Oh, I get it. See, the thing is that I think, yeah, you've got a very good point there, Queen of Water, because if you think of government, it's very much to do with the 10th house up here, Capricorn, Saturn type rule. There's going to be a certain percentage of human people. Let's say it's 1/12 of humanity. Let's say there's 12 signs. And let's say you have a very strong Capricorn identity type of belief system, and it's not fully refined. In other words, there's healthy Capricorn energy and there's unhealthy Capricorn energy. The unhealthy Capricorn energy is what I've been describing for years over here, especially through here. In some ways, this is a description of unhealthy Capricorn energy, where basically a certain group of people make a decision that they have a right and a duty and obligation to put themselves in a superior position in order to govern us, allegedly for our collective benefit, but ultimately for their benefit at our expense. And that's where everything goes wrong. Very, very good point there, Queen of Water. Thank you. It's all about the power and the money and the control. That is the unhealthy 10th house Capricorn Saturn vibe, which is what we saw happening here in America. Well, it's being put on notice. We have a new government in place. All right, so what are the challenges here? This is very, very tricky, I see here with the Two of Swords. It makes me feel very tricky where even though, like, because I'm a Donald Trump fan and I like what he's doing, like you say, he's still government. So it's government of the people, by the people, for the people. And so we have to hold him to that. And there are a lot of Republicans who are still going to be very, very observant towards the Trump agenda, make America great again. Is it a big scam? There are lots of people who actually believe Trump is the Antichrist, and he has been brought into office as a massive, massive charade to make everybody think like, oh, the world's going to be saved again, when in fact he's going to be leading us into the slaughter. So you have to figure it out. You have to use your own intuition, your own antenna, do your own homework, do your own research, come to your own conclusions, okay? And that's for everybody. We all have to do it. Oh, thank you, Tina. ICE trying to deport Native Americans? That doesn't seem right. All right, let's have a look. What's the problems here? Okay, so we've got the King of Wands here. So my feeling is that the challenge is that it's about how do we stay inspired and happy, because I'm just talking now personally. As a fan of Trump, I am looking forward to what is unfolding, what is going to unfold. And I personally allow for the probability, well, possibility, let's go, there's a difference between possibilities and probabilities. Let's just call it possibilities because that's neutral. The possibilities is that the enactment of these revolutionary agendas for the rebirth of America, in other words, 1776 revisited, in other words, the reconstitution of the Constitution, the redeclaration of the Declaration of Independence, isn't just going to be a party. There's going to be a lot of convulsions that are going to happen inside of America. Because remember, hold on, I'll come back to the King of Wands in just a second. I've got to do a preface. You have to remember that, let's just call it Trump. Trump inherited the biggest economic, financial, social, evil dumpster fire in world history. Manufactured and created by the deep state elite who were trying to destroy America, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence so that they could impose their brand new world type order. Basically globalized communism. Okay? It's not working. The deep state's being called out. They've been put on notice, but they still have immense power, money, and control. And they want to keep that as much as they can. And they are going to fight back one way or other. And there are going to be periods, there are going to be moments, there are going to be periods of time where Trump is going to be in a very difficult spot, perhaps in America with taxes or inflation or tariffs or something where things are going to backfire on his executive orders and commands and directives. And there are going to be episodes when we're going to have a collective sense of potential doom and failure and loss. It's inevitable. The way I see it is it's inevitable that there's going to be a certain amount of backlash from the deep state as they start to make a formal response to Trump. And when they start to do that and they activate their demonic behaviors and they put them into practice, it's going to be awful. And we're going to have a possibility that we're going to lose our sense of control and inspiration and like, oh my God, the deep state's coming back. Oh my God, they're still alive. They're worse than ever. They're more evil than we ever knew before. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. How are we going to maintain our sense of pride, glory, inspiration, courage going forward? It's actually very, very hard to do. A lot of people are taking their cue from Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a very kind of simple way of doing these things. He's essentially a warrior. At the core essence of his chart, he's a warrior. Mars conjoined Pluto in Leo in the first house. An extremely powerful warrior with Mars and Pluto conjoined. The more you try to destroy him, the more powerful he becomes. Okay? Classic Pluto. So, let's put it this way. Just because Donald's in the house now doesn't mean we've won and we can just sit back and everything's going to be sweet and pretty and happy again. No, it's not. It's a war. We are at war. Donald Trump has basically made the first shots, the first movements of the new war on the new global battlefield. The war is not just here. The war is not just here. The war is all over the world because effectively today, with the new version of Pluto and Aquarius, it's the same story that happened 250 years ago between the early Americas and England, but now it's happening on a global scale. There's, 8 billion people now who want freedom. A lot of them do not want tyranny. The places that operate under tyranny are China, Russia, Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, bits and pieces over here, a lot of the Middle East. They do not like Trump. They want to keep their tyrannical empires going. And so they're going to start to fight back. Now, the thing about Trump and the way it affects us here in the collective is that he's basically working for us. He's working for we the people, as he promised. And as a well-proven fighter, he's very, very successful because he is a fighter. And he understands power and money and control. It's like the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid. One of his approaches is like when you're going into a deal and trying to figure things out, and you've got some resistance, and you're going to go into a fight, and you know you're heading into a fight. You're already prepared psychologically. He's already always prepared anyway. He can fight back instantly. He's already programmed to do that. Not all of us can. I can't. So what he does, he maintains typically a very calm demeanor. Sometimes his voice is very monotone, and he comes out with like programmed language, almost sounding like a robot. But it's very, very precise, and it's very, very intentional. Remember, he has the Gemini Sun, Uranus in Gemini, North Node in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, up there in the 11th house of we the people. So he is speaking and fighting and as a warrior on our behalf. And one of his strategies, it's an actual tactic. It's like in-your-face tactic. If it's necessary to strike, make a blow, take a blow, inflict a blow on an opponent, you don't let him know it's coming. You might give him some ideas, like if you don't do this, then you're going to suffer that, that, and that, and that. And if somebody actually pushes him up to the wall, he'll just say, well, Okay, you asked for it, and then he just comes in effectively, bum, 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 bum. Extremely fast, extremely hard, and the other party has no idea what happened because they're splattered all over the floor. So that's his strategy. It's a fighter's strategy. You know, he's really into cage fighting and UFC, all that kind of stuff. So he understands war. He understands fighting. Mars conjoined Pluto in Leo, the first house. He is a warrior by definition, okay? Okay. All right, so let me have a look at this. So this is difficult because there are going to be episodes going forward when we are going to doubt Donald Trump. We're going to doubt our vote, when we're going to doubt our ability to prevail, when we are going to doubt the chance that we'll ever find freedom. Imagine a few months from now, and we're deep in the thick of it, of all the deportations. There's going to be a lot of kickback. Other countries are going to say, no, you can't send those people back here. And then Trump is going to be having to fight. Trump is going to be receiving all sorts of lawsuits from the deep state to try and shut him down and block him. And that can be very scary. How do we proceed? Well, it is a war here. It's a war between brute strength, in other words, thugs, tyrants, evil monsters, versus God, heaven, Jesus, the healing power of love. It is a war, and we are at war. We will prevail. The healing power of love will prevail, but it's not going to be easy. I know it's a very unusual way to read this card, but to me it's very blunt. It's very, very obvious. This would be the three-dimensional energy of humanity, and this is the spirit energy of humanity. And humanity is at war with itself. The part of humanity that is deeply infected with tyranny and evil is at war with the part of humanity that wants freedom. Freedom from the tyranny. Because you have to remember, the world is not divided up the way I describe it, like, oh, bad, good, tyranny, freedom. The whole world is saturated with tyranny, okay? Tyranny in the form of financial tyranny, slavery, debt slavery, physical slavery, psychological tyranny, propaganda, brainwashing, all of that, financial slavery, the Federal Reserve banking system, all of it is a form of tyranny. We the people say no more. We want our freedom back. But we're facing an astronomical enemy that technically dwarfs us. The thing is that I believe we have God on our side. We have the healing power of love on our side. It's kind of like we're just going to have to live through this on the understanding that there are going to be periods where we're shaking, where we're thinking like, oh my God, our freedom, we just had a spectacular win with Donald Trump and he's doing his right now. But you can't fight like that permanently. It's like a move. You go in there, you basically put the enemy on the floor while you have the strength and the power to do so. They're going to rise up again, like in a fight, and then you're going to have to go back and do different fight moves and everything to survive. So right now, Donald is in the phase of delivering the blow. He's just pummeling the enemy, the tyranny, the tyrants. But they will rise up again. Just like in a UFC fight, they will stand up, they'll get up again, and they'll come right back, and they're going to try to act bigger and more powerful and stronger than the people who want freedom. So the idea is just like I was talking about earlier with my systemic candidiasis. The whole of planet Earth is infected with tyranny. And we have here a little tiny, brand new immune system in the form of Donald Trump and the new MAGA agenda that is now attacking the tyranny. So it's just like what happens in the human body. only this is for the whole collective of humanity. The humanity got to the point like, if we don't fight back, we're going to die. The whole of Earth is going to be sucked up into a tyrannical, disgusting, evil cesspool. And something happened. Enough people woke up and said, no, 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 no. We're taking it back. We are going to reclaim the Constitution, reclaim the Declaration of Independence. Thank you very much. Hold on, I got to read some notes here. So that's basically the reading. I'm going to leave it like that. Let me catch up with the notes here. There's a lot of notes. What happened? I'm fine with immigration becoming citizens. Yeah, work, pay taxes. That's not what's going on. It's drugs, gangs, child trafficking, rapists. I agree. I agree. Wait, let me just, I'm trying to catch up here. Child, yeah, okay, I see where you're going. Australia has an immigration problem too. Yes, I've heard that. And you have housing issues. Yes, I've heard that. Housing issues don't even cover the insanity here. We've been providing free housing, sanctuary states. Yeah, that's not cool. No, Queen of Water, what you're talking about is it's a global situation because of all the, let's say, the well-meaning intention of assimilation with migrants has backfired extremely badly. They don't want to assimilate, and they don't assimilate. In fact, they think they have rights above the indigenous. Are you displaced from homeland? No way. Is it very strong? Yes, New Zealand has its problems too. I've been there. I love it. All right, let's leave it at that, folks. Let's see what we got going on here. Actually, I'm really glad I did show up, even though it was really late. And okay, Tina, I see your notes. I'll catch up with that later. I'm going to wrap it up now, let everybody go on with their evening. You probably got a very busy work week ahead. Thanks, Queen of Water. It's already Monday for you, so it must be what, Monday morning, Monday lunchtime or something? Thank you, NT. I'm glad we did that collective reading. That caught me totally off guard. I wasn't expecting anything like that, but that's what we got. And I'm glad we brought it to the surface. It needs to be told. The story needs to be told for what it really is, for what's actually happening. Okay? All right. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. Be loving, be loved. Remember, energy flows where attention goes. You have that option. I know it means you have to think. Some people don't like to think. A lot of people like autopilot. You can really enhance your life if you decide to think. Okay. Oh, it's afternoon. Okay. Good night, everybody. Take care. God bless.